Hello, everybody. Here we're back. I'm just going to set up my Facebook feed. Give me just 1 second, and then off we will go for sure. Here we are. All right, I just need to let my puppy in and close the door. Stella. Sit. Stella, sit. Good God. All right. How is everyone today? I hope you had a fantastic day. I did. I had a very relaxed day, actually. All right, so I was pre-paving a wonderful session today. I was pre-paving good things, good discussions, and I was pre-paving flowing freely and finding the best words to help us all understand Abraham's work a lot better. So, what we're doing is we're going through this book, Money and the Law of Attraction by Esther and Jerry Hicks, one of my absolute favorite books. This book really helped me to turn around my financial situation. And so I absolutely love and adore, as you can see, lots of stickies sticking out of it. All right. Last time we left it off. Oh, so I have to tell you, I am not reading the book. And if you don't have the book, that's okay. You don't need to have the book. All I am doing is I'm going through the book, picking up segments of the book, and then sharing with you my own perspective on Abraham's work. This is exactly how I wrote the book Abraham 101, because that book is a summary of the terms that Abraham uses. Haven't updated it. That's on my list of things to do. I want to update it because Abraham comes up with new terminology every year. Okay, so last time we finished on page 112, and we've moved on from the section. Part 1 of the book was about the foundation of the law of attraction. Part 2 of the book was about money, and now we are doing the next part of the book, which is focused on health. And I love this because our physical body is a reflection of the thoughts we think, more so than anything. And what I mean by that is before you actually manifest something in terms of money that isn't going well for you, you manifest a bodily condition that is not going well for you. So, hi, Nicole. So it's really important to pay attention to what's happening inside our body. Now, opening up on page 112, we're talking about the body's natural ability to heal itself. And Abraham, Jerry actually having a conversation with Abraham, hi Thai, is saying that our body can heal itself. So when he cuts himself, he can see his body heal that cut automatically. And then the discussion goes towards, yes, Abraham says, yes, of course, unless you get in the way, then your body has the ability to heal itself. But what about those things that are going on inside our body that we cannot see? And that is a really important question because, see, when we can see a scrape or a cut or a bruise on our body, hello, hi everybody, and we can see it heal over, then we believe it more. And because we believe it more, then it happens really quickly. When we can't see it, when we are unable to see the healing process taking place, then that brings doubt into the picture, right? That creates doubt. We're like, okay, I can't see the improvement. I wonder what's going on. Is my body really able to deal with this, or am I just kidding myself? So that doubt, oops, hang on, guys. This does not look right. Hang on, Facebook friends. This does not look right. All right, so hello. I am going to stop and start again because it seems to be wonky, or just turn it around like that. Hey, how's that? That's better, right? And now I need to balance this. How can I do that? Let's see. There we go. I can do it this way. There's always a way. All right, we are in business. Okay, so isn't that so true? I mean, think about it. When your parent or your child or your sibling or maybe your significant other or you yourself have a health situation going on and you don't know what's happening inside your body, then it leads to confusion and you're like, okay, that medicine that I'm taking, is it really doing anything for me? And when you ask that question, even if there was an improvement going on, you have now pushed that improvement away. You have literally pushed it away by thinking that thought. Or when we say things like, is it getting better? The response should be, of course it's getting better. It can be no other way. Of course it's getting better. It's when we introduce doubt into the picture, that's when things go wrong. Because doubt is a negative vibration. Asking that question, I don't know if this is going well for me or not. Does this doctor really understand what's going on inside my body? Maybe I should get another x-ray. Maybe I should get another MRI because maybe they didn't see it the first time. When you say things like that, what happens is you go further down the emotional scale from wherever you were before, because you are now introducing the probability of something going wrong. And so what Abraham is saying, very important words, and they're not on page 112, but where are they? Where are they? There are. So what Abraham is saying is that most people go, so I'm reading from the book now, most people go to the doctor when they are sick asking for information about what is wrong. And when you look for something wrong, you usually find it. Not because it was lurking there and then you found it, but because you asked for it by looking for something that's going wrong. So Abraham says the law of attraction insists on it actually. A continual searching for things wrong with your body will in time produce evidence of something wrong, not because it was lurking there all along and you finally probed long enough to find it, but because repeated thought eventually creates its equivalent. Oh my God. Do you see how important that one sentence is? When you look for something wrong, you will find something wrong. Hi, Susuvich. Hello, everyone. Sorry. Um, got a little carried away with that discussion because I've seen this happen again and again. I've seen it happen with so many people that when they are not well, they're not satisfied with one diagnosis. And then they want another diagnosis. And then they want to see as many doctors as they can. And every time they visit a doctor, they're looking for something going wrong. Hi, Louise. Hi, Deepa. Hi, Jennifer. Okay, so then Jerry asks Abraham a question, and the question is, what about those babies? What about a brand new baby that's just born? Aren't children supposed to be pure positive energy, pure source? Yes, of course they are. Yes, they absolutely are. But you're assuming one thing. You are assuming that the child in the womb was not vibrating already. Hi, Elena. The child in the womb was already vibrating. and was already absorbing energy from people around it. The child in the womb was not thinking, but the child in the womb was absorbing the energy or the frequency of vibration of the adults around it. And because the child in the womb was not paying attention to whether that was true or not, it was just like a sponge absorbing all of that. Yes, it did affect the child. And so the child also started vibrating. Now, when a child is born and it starts thinking, it can start thinking, it does start thinking right when it is born. Because why? Because it starts expressing its preferences and it starts learning how to use its five senses. So at that stage, the child can make a decision. Oh, this vibration that I'm getting from this mother of mine or this parent of mine, I don't like this, so I'm just going to ward it off. I'm going to be like a duck and not let it be absorbed. But there can be another child can make the decision, oh, something's wrong. And because of that connection of something wrong, why is my parent feeling this way? Then the child also comes down the emotional scale. Very interesting. When you start understanding this stuff that Abraham teaches from the point of view of two things only, the emotional scale and momentum, everything falls into place and everything starts making sense. So then, so then Jerry's question to Abraham is, but then does that mean that we should never visit a doctor? Of course not. Of course not. Doctors are people who are doing God's work. They are using medicine and their knowledge of how the human body works. And where do you think that knowledge came from? Where do you think medicine came from? All medicine, whether it is naturopathic or allopathic or I don't know, you go and gather herbs in the forest and bring it home and make your own concoction, doesn't matter. All remedies, all solutions come from source. Somebody asked for it and somebody developed it in response to this asking. And so none of it is bad, but it is bad if you take it when you're at the wrong place on the emotional scale. Always do things from the top of the emotional scale. One of the things that I've certainly noticed, my mother used to call it bedside manner, but really what it is those doctors who go beyond just looking at the symptoms, those doctors who inspire you to your wellness, you feel more confident working with them. Isn't that so? And so, what is that? Well, they take you up the emotional scale to a place of hope. And from a place of hope, anything that you do, even if you ingest a placebo, it will give you the same result. It's the hope that makes a difference, nothing else. All right. So, now Abraham is saying, our encouragement is that you pay attention to your emotional balance. Work deliberately to find the best feeling thoughts you can find and practice them until they are habitual. And in doing so, you will tend to your vibrational alignment first and then follow through with whatever action you feel inspired to. So you will feel inspired based on your belief system. You will feel inspired either to go to an allopathic doctor or a naturopathic doctor or just someone for help. And it's okay to go and look for help, because when you ask, it is always given, and it always comes to us through someone. Someone brings us the message, whether it's a bird or a person, doesn't matter. They are all messengers of source, because especially animals, they're so in tune with the vibration of the universe, and they're bringing us whatever messages we are not able to decipher on our own. They bring us the messages. That's why they say out of the mouth of babes, right? Because babies don't have as much resistance as we do, and so they are carriers of messages from source. So now another interesting discussion is about our belief about aging. So here Abraham is talking about the strength of our physical body. And as a society, the world has accepted that with age come health problems, that you're not as strong when you're aging. But Abraham disagrees because Abraham says, as long as you look after your body, because it is like a machine, it's a machine. If you look after your body, and how do you look after your body? Mostly by thinking positively. If you look after your body, there is no reason for aging. But there comes a point in our lives where this world is no more fun for us. And so eventually, everyone who is born wants to make an exit. And a lot of times, illness is the exit that is used. So Abraham says here, older people often do experience more illness and less vitality. But the reason for the decline of people as they get older is not because their physical bodies are programmed to break down over time, but because they know the longer they live, the more they find to fuss and worry about, causing resistance to be their natural stream of well-being. Illness is about resistance, not about age. See? So there's no reason for someone who's older to be more susceptible to any kind of disease, because as long as they have not stored negative energy in their body. When you store resistance, which is negative energy in your body, now your body is not functioning at its optimal level. And if it's not functioning at its optimal level, then disease can sneak in. All right. So now the next heading, I'm going to read the heading to you because it's a really interesting heading. Euphoria in the jaws of a lion. Hi, Tracy. So Jerry makes a very interesting comment. Jerry says, I heard that a famous man, Dr. Livingstone, while in Africa, was dragged off by a lion that grabbed him with its jaws. He said that he went into a sort of euphoric state and felt no pain. And I've seen prey go limp like that when they're about to be eaten by a larger animal. It's kind of like there's a giving up and the struggle is over. But animals age? Well, sweetheart, Louise, what a fantastic comment. Thank you for that. Well, sweetheart, Louise, animals also, hi Moni, animals are also generating resistance because animals also have preference. And when you have preference and you're not allowing that preference, then law of attraction works the same way for animals as it does for humans and for anything else in the world. So yes, animals also age, and there comes a time when they're not having fun anymore. Whether they are animals in the wild or whether they are animals who are caged up, or they are princes and princesses that we spoil in our homes. Either way, they can have resistance too because they have preferences, and if they're not getting what they want and they haven't figured out how to use law of attraction, yes, they are also figuring it out. They have less resistance because their thinking is not as developed as human thinking. Human logic works differently than the logic of an animal or a bird or any other living thing. And because their logic works differently, they don't generate as much resistance as we do. So everything ages, but things only die because they want to die. And in the case of animals, they can make the decision, as Abraham says, all death is suicide. They can make the decision to transition. And at the end of the day, we are all an extension of that which is source. So if source is having fun, enjoying the perspective that we are creating through our logic, our mind, our thinking, our living of life. And if source decides that this is enough, then source will withdraw its attention. And when source withdraws its attention, that is when death happens. Um, okay, so here's another comment on YouTube. Let me read that. Esther talk about that with her own friend in her book. Lucianne, yes. Um, Esther talks about it, or Abraham talks about it a lot. And animals and plants are co-creators with humans to create this world in which we all live. And so everything in the world has a purpose. But I think what I want to say is that humans have a bigger decision making arena. Humans operate within a bigger decision making arena. We have more choice. Animals, on the other hand, and plants more so, have less choice than we do. And because they have less choice and they have more acceptance, they don't generate as much resistance. And then also there is wear and tear on the body. So that's what we circle around to, is that as long as you look after the body, then there is no reason for the body to be diminished in any way. But a lot of times, even with animals, their physical body is also not looked after. And for those animals that we adopt and bring into our homes, they absorb our vibration. And animals who live in our homes as our pets, they are very different. And that's a whole, oh my God, I could do a whole couple of hours of discussion on animals and the difference between their reactions in the wild and in our homes. There are many factors. I'm simplifying it here because I want to go back to the book, but it's a whole different dynamic of how things happen in respect to them. Yes, Lucianne, the Sarah books and many other places. In fact, the book The Vortex also has a lot about this kind of discussion in it. Okay, so Abraham says, first we will say, did I do this already? No, I didn't. Okay, so we were talking about euphoria in the jaws of a lion, and I was reading from the book about how Jerry tells the story of Dr. Livingstone, and that giving up of the struggle. And then his question is about his statement about feeling no pain. Was what he was calling euphoria a mental condition or a physical condition? And is it something that only happens in extreme conditions, like when you're about to be eaten or killed? Or could it be utilized by anyone when there is something that's painful in order not to feel the pain? What a well thought out question, right? So Abraham says, we will say that you cannot accurately separate that which is physical from that which is mental. And that's why so many illnesses are a reflection of what's going on in our thoughts. In other words, you are a physically focused being, yes, and you are a thinking, mental being, yes. But the life force or energy that comes forth from you, within you, is offered from a broader perspective. In such a situation where it is likely that you would not recover, in other words, once a lion has you in his jaws, your inner being intervenes and offers a flow of energy that would be received by you as that sort of euphoric state. I have goosebumps reading that. But then Abraham says, you do not have to wait until you are in such an intense situation before you have access to the stream of well-being from source. But most people do not allow it until they have no other choice. And that is the important thing to understand. When we have no choice and we accept the worst possible outcome, suddenly we give up all negative beliefs. All negative beliefs fall away in the snap of your fingers when you give up. And that is why giving up in itself is a really important process. When you give up your negative beliefs, you give up your resistance, and when you do that, everything flows easily into your life. Um, Abraham says, everything that you experience is about the balance of thought between your desires and your expectations. It's our expectation that is extremely important. So, do we really expect things to change? If we keep fighting ourselves because we want something but we don't expect it, we create this kind of a war going on inside us where we are being pulled in two different directions. And when we are being pulled in two different directions, then there's no moving forward. We kind of start feeling stuck right there. A state of allowing is something that must be practiced in normal day to day circumstances, not in the midst of attacks by a lion. See, it's all about learning how to how to allow. And we have to practice it every day. It has to be a lifestyle. Not Law of attraction is not something that you sit down and you practice for half an hour every day. It is something that you breathe in and breathe out all day, every day. All your reactions are governed by it. It has to become your natural response. And then when you are in that situation where a lion has you, you will automatically respond from that place. But if you're not practiced, then responding from that place of allowing when you're in an extreme situation is so much harder. Okay. Practiced alignment brought about by consistently good feeling thoughts is the path to being pain free. Pain is only a more emphatic indicator of resistance. That's what it is. So if you are feeling pain somewhere in your body, what is that? It is an indication that you're doing something with your thoughts that you need to change. We tell our physical friends, Abraham says, if you have negative emotion and you do not realize that it is an indicator letting you know about resistant thought and you do not do something to correct your resistant thought, by the law of attraction, your resistant thought will grow stronger. And if you still don't do anything about it, it will go stronger still until eventually you will experience pain and illness or other indicators of your resistance. So basically, it's all about appreciation, isn't it? That's all we ever need to do. Appreciate, appreciate, appreciate. Because when you appreciate, you go up the emotional scale. And from that place, high up on the emotional scale, everything's fine. Everything is perfect. All right. Now, Jerry's next question to Abraham is, how can someone feeling extreme pain focus elsewhere? It's not the easiest thing to do, is it? When your physical body is hurting, to ignore it and distract your attention and think about something else, it's not the easiest thing to do, is it? So let's see what Abraham says about it. Abraham says, of course you are right. It is difficult not to think about the throbbing toe. Most of you do not think clearly about what you do want until you're living what you do not want. How interesting is that? I love those words. Most of you, let me repeat this. Most of you do not think clearly about what you do want until you are living what you do not want. Most of you sort of drift into your day, right? Now, if you're pre-paving, then you're not drifting. You've got purpose. You've aligned yourself with your purpose. So Abraham says, and I love these words from Abraham, when you are feeling pain, you have a choice. You can think about the pain with despair, or you can think about the pain with hope. And that is the difference between improvement and not. We make that choice because when we are hurting, we can say, it's going to be fine. I'll figure this out. My body just needs some time. It's going to get better. And then not look for the improvement, because when you look for the improvement, you create attachment. All right, so I'll read out what Abraham says. Their words are, in other words, you could have pain in your body, and during the pain, you could be feeling fear, or you could have pain in your body while feeling hope. And that is the difference. The pain does not have to dictate your attitude or the thoughts that you are thinking. It is possible to think about something other than the pain. And if you can achieve that, then in time, the pain will subside. And if you can achieve that, then if the pain occurs and you give your, oh, sorry, I got it all mixed up. I read half of one sentence and half of another. Okay, so clearing it up. If once the pain occurs, you give the pain your undivided attention, then you will only perpetuate more of what you do not want. Okay, so see how that works? It can work for us and it can also work against us. So, preventive wellness is far easier to accomplish than corrective wellness. See the difference? Preventive wellness, meaning look after your thoughts so that you never get sick. That's better, preventive wellness. Then corrective. Corrective meaning now something's gone wrong and I have to deal with it. But in either case, improved feeling thoughts of greater and greater relief are the key. And that is, I think, the only important thing, because it's all about relief. And how do we find relief? By accepting where we are, not making a big deal about it, not spending too much time thinking about it, because the more we think about it, the more we activate it, and distracting ourselves as much as possible, and appreciating everything that we can see around us that we can appreciate. All right, so then Abraham says, your natural state is one of wellness, one of absolute health, one of perfect bodily conditions. And if you are experiencing anything other than that, it is only because the balance of thought within you is towards the lack of what you want instead of what you do want. What does that mean? So anything in our body, that 10 pounds that I would much rather be without, or the shape of my nose that I want to see become different, anything in my body, maybe a back pain, anything in your body, if it is always and always and always just an indicator of one thing, that we are not doing as good as a job as we think we are in thinking our thoughts. And folks, that is the most important thing here. Something happens, even if it's like a little thing, like a little poke of a needle, a drop of blood, a tiny little scratch. It is a reflection of what you are doing in your thoughts. And if it is more than that, that's okay. Because thank God that we have these indicators. Thank God that Source is communicating to us what we need to do. So more pain, or the intensity of pain, just means that more work is needed. More appreciation is needed. A lot of times when I start working with people and they start, we start discussing law of attraction ideas back and forth, a lot of times people say, "Oh, Zara, I was having such a good time. I really enjoyed learning about law of attraction. Things started going smoothly. My days were good. And then suddenly something bad happened." Right? And so why did something bad happen when I was doing so well? And the answer always is just one answer, is that you think that you're doing a very good job, but the universe wants you to know that you need to do better than what you're doing, that you haven't got there yet, that you've still got work to do, and that there is still momentum from the past that shows up from time to time, because it has not subsided as much as you think that it has. We can fool ourselves into a place of comfortable laziness. We can fool ourselves into that place that says, "Oh, I've done most of the work. I don't need to do that now." And then something happens that indicates to us that nope, 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 there's more work to be done, right? And so that's what this is all about. Okay, all right, the next section actually something that we already talked about, and the heading is, "But could a baby's thoughts attract disease?" So Abraham's answer, I'll read some of this because I gave you my perspective already, but listen to what Abraham is saying. Abraham says, first we want to state that no one is creating your reality other than you, even if you are a tiny baby. No one is creating for the baby except the baby, him or herself. People often think that it would be a much better world if all newborn babies could be born meeting all of the standards of a perfect physical body. But that is not necessarily the intention of every being who comes forth into a physical body. There are many beings who, because the contrast creates an interesting effect that provides valuable, that proves valuable in many other ways, deliberately intend to vary from what is normal. In other words, you just cannot assume that something has gone wrong when babies are born with differences. How wonderful is that? A baby that is born with a physical characteristic that is not the norm doesn't mean something has gone wrong, because that point of focus, that consciousness that has taken on this physical body, did so knowingly, accepted the challenge, because that viewpoint, that point of focus is interesting, because it has so much to offer that is different from the norm. And so Abraham says, imagine an athlete who has become very good at playing tennis. And people think that, okay, so what's the challenge now, right? Because if you don't have a challenge in playing that game, then that game is no more fun. There has to be a little bit of a stretch. And so there are those who come forth in those situations because for them that is a challenge. They want that difference. They want to see that perspective. So Abraham says, and in like manner, many who are at the top of their game in physical creating want opportunities to view life differently so that new options can be evoked and new experiences can be lived. And these beings also understand that there can be tremendous benefit to those others who are close by when something different from what is normal is being experienced. How interesting is that, right? Different does not mean less than. Remember that. Different does not mean less than. Different are what make the world an interesting place. Contrast, contrasting colors, contrasting shapes and textures, contrasting cultures and ways of thinking. Imagine having a discussion with someone who agrees with everything that you say. I know. I know some of you are saying, yes, I would want a spouse like that. However, think about it. Wouldn't it be so boring if there was no to and fro, if there was no opinion? Right? That would be a really flat, uninteresting conversation, wouldn't it? So, we all want contrast in different shapes and sizes. Okay. And then Abraham's next topic here is, why have some been born with illness? So, Abraham says, when you came into this physical body, you understood that from wherever you stand, you can make a new decision about you, what you want. So, you must understand that there are those who have come forth deliberately wanting physical disability because they wanted the benefit that they knew would come from it. They were wanting to add some balance to their perspective. So, isn't that interesting that those souls who inhabit those bodies for this journey in this physical time space reality actually make that decision because they think that it would be an interesting life. I love that. And you know what? Knowing that gives me a lot of peace inside. Knowing that gives me a lot of peace inside. Knowing that makes me feel that I don't have to feel sorry when I see someone with a disability, like a child born with Down syndrome or a child who is confined to a wheelchair. I don't have to feel sorry for them. In fact, I have to feel love for them because they are that part of Source that consciously made the decision to have that experience, because their having that experience is a different perspective and they are able to inspire other people to find unconditional love. And that is so powerful. I have goosebumps all over me. So we should really, and you know what, this discussion is one thing, but we should really never ever feel sorry for people who have problems of any sort. Maybe it's a bodily condition, maybe it's something else, because when we feel sorry for someone, we actually bring ourselves down the emotional scale. And when we bring ourselves down the emotional scale, now we're not helping ourselves and we are not helping them either. All right, what's this question over here? Difference is not familiar. I think we are programmed. Yes, well, you see, here's the thing, Lucienne. Nobody else programs us. We program ourselves. You can be in a society that thinks one thing and you can end up being someone who does not agree. And your perspective is completely different. Certainly, I'm an example of that. Right? Okay. Most who are attracting less than wellness are doing so by default. They may very well desire wellness, while the majority of their thoughts are upon subjects that do not support wellness. It is not a good idea to stand in your perspective and try to evaluate the appropriateness of what anyone else is living, because you will never be able to figure it out. But you always know where you stand relative to what you are wanting. And if you will pay attention to what you are thinking and let your thoughts be guided by the feeling that comes forth within you, you will find yourself guiding your thoughts more of the time in the direction of that which will ultimately please you. Oh my God, Abraham. Sometimes, Abraham, sweetheart, I love you, Abraham and Esther, but sometimes you use so many words. Let's stop and let's simplify this. Okay, basically, what Abraham is saying here is, it's not our job to judge anyone. we cannot tell what is going on inside someone's heart and mind. And we should just leave it at that, because we will never, ever be able to figure it out. We think that we can figure it out, but we can never really figure it out. Okay, so then the next section is about the concept of incurable disease. All right, what is incurable? Jerry's saying the most recent, what we call incurable diseases, is AIDS. And yet we are now beginning to see AIDS survivors. So what's going on here, Abraham? And Abraham says, there is not a physical apparatus, no matter what the state of deterioration, that cannot achieve perfect health. But that which you believe has everything to do with what you allow in your experience. If you believe that something is incurable, you make it incurable. And we have so many examples of people who didn't accept that, who said, no, not going to buy into that. And so they were able to cure themselves. So Abraham says over here, your survival has nothing to do with the disease and everything to do with your thoughts. And so if you say to yourself, that may be true for others, but it is not so for me, for I am the creator of my own experience, and I choose recovery, not death. At this time, you can recover. So, isn't that good to know? So, what is it? It's our attitude. Everything is about our attitude. We can buy into other people's attitude and their beliefs. And if we do, then our results will be the same as their results. If you don't like the results that they're getting, don't buy into what they're doing. Don't accept their belief system. Abraham says, your experience is a clear indication of the thoughts that you think. When you change the thoughts you are thinking, your experience or indicator must change also. It is law. Basically, what that means is that whatever you manifest is an indication of how good a job you're doing over here. If you're manifesting most of the things that you want, if your life is going well, if you feel good in your body, if you enjoy waking up, then you're doing a good job. And if you go around stubbing your toe and people are not nice to you and you get stuck in traffic, you got to stop and ask yourself, what's going on? And the answer is always, I thought I was positive, but apparently I'm not as positive as I need to be. So what do I need to do? Just one thing. Well, make that two things. Just two things. Appreciate, appreciate, appreciate. Meditate, meditate, meditate. Okay, don't meditate all day. That's not what I mean. 15-20 minutes of meditation daily is good, but if you can get it in a couple of times in the week, awesome. But appreciation is something that has to be a habit, that has to be our default response to everything. Everything. All right. Very good. How are we doing for time? Okay, I think I can keep going for just a little bit longer. Are you guys having fun? If you're having fun, comment below, this is good, or something. Just yay, or an exclamation mark, let me know. Come on guys, I need to know whether or not you're getting something out of this. Come on, post below. I want to see those comments coming up. I love it. The comments flow upwards and I can see them as they're coming. All right, so far, everyone, was this useful? Yes, thank you, Elena. Hi, Deepa, thank you. Awesome. Yes, keep those comments coming. Awesome, Renee, thank you. Tracy, awesome, awesome. Thank you, guys. That is good. I like it. Oh, lovely. Hi. And who's that? Harmony Light. Awesome. Shirley. Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, back to our session. So, the next heading is focus on fun to regain one's health, and there's a question mark. So it's a question. Should we focus on fun to regain our health? And Jerry says, this is a question that Jerry is asking. About someone, he's talking about someone called Norman Cousins. I don't know Norman Cousins. Maybe you do. Do you have a cousin called Norman? I don't know. Hi, Marlene. Okay. Jerry says Norman Cousins was an author who contracted a disease that was considered to be incurable. But he survived it, and he said he was able to do so by watching a series of humorous television programs. I understand that he just watched these programs and laughed, and the disease went away. What would you say was behind his recovery? All right. Abraham says his recovery was accomplished because he achieved vibrational alignment with well-being. There are two primary factors involved in his finding vibrational alignment. First, his desire for wellness was dramatically enhanced by his illness. And second, the programs he watched distracted him from the illness. The pleasure that he felt as he laughed at the humor of the programs was his indication that his disallowance of well-being had ceased. Those are the two factors required in the creation of anything. Want it and allow it. So I want to expand on this because this is really, really deep. And what I want to say to you guys is that when we put our attention on something, when we focus on a subject, when we think about something, we activate all our beliefs that surround that subject. So if you don't like the manifestations that are taking place, hi Rhonda, with respect to this subject, then in order to deactivate the negative beliefs, you have to get off the subject. It's so interesting. I was working this morning. I was at work in my office, and I had this sudden impulse to say these very words. And I actually emailed this to myself thinking, oh, I should totally do a YouTube video to explain this to people. And then look at this, it shows up over here. And yeah, that's law of attraction, I guess, right? So just so you know, because I flow whatever is coming, I have not read the book prior to doing this interpretation for you tonight. So I had no idea. I had zero idea that it was going to show up. So I'm a little bit awestruck just now. It's one of those things, you know, that when something surprises you, the universe surprises and delights you, and you kind of stop and you say, oh my God. And that's what's happening to me just now. I'm sitting here right in front of you in the middle of my presentation going, universe, thank you. Thank you for this indication of my alignment, because I had the words even before I knew that I was going to be speaking them today. Okay, time to come back. I will milk this later on. Okay, so let's get back. The thing is, if you focus on the pain, you activate the pain. I'm on form. Sweetheart, Harmony Light. Soon as I turn, I have this switch, my Abraham switch. Soon as I turn the switch on, everything flows. But thank you. Okay, so here's the thing. If I focus on this mug, I see this mug, I'm activating the mug. Has nothing to do with whether or not I'm appreciating the mug or I'm looking at it and saying, you're disgusting, go away. The point is, I'm focusing on the mug. So if I don't want the mug to show up in my life, What I have to do is stop looking at the mug, and then it will stop showing up in my life. But as long as I keep looking at the mug, whether I look at it positively or negatively doesn't matter, the mug is going to show up in my life. But when I stop looking at it, now I've deactivated it. You deactivate negative beliefs by getting off the subject. Because the thing is, for most of us, we don't even know what negative beliefs we've got. All we know is the fear we feel in the pit of our tummy. That's all. That's what we know. But we don't really know the belief that is causing that fear. It's the butterflies and blue wall story Abraham keeps reminding us of. Yes, Monisha, that is true. Whatever you activate will show up. Yes. And from that perspective, that story applies. But I want to talk about the opposite. If you want to deactivate something, then you have to do the opposite of the blue glass story. In order to deactivate something, you have to stop looking at it. So when you stop looking at the pain, yes, it's about distraction. When you look away and you distract yourself and you look somewhere else, you have now deactivated all the negative and the positive beliefs that have to do with this. Beliefs are activated when you look at the subject. Just looking at the subject. This is why I teach people to stop using the word money. Because the word money has so many beliefs linked to it. Some are good and some are not so good. We can't pull it apart because we don't know which ones are good, which ones are serving us, and which ones are not. Yes, Deepa, it's my favorite mug. This is the mug I have my coffee in every morning. So I'm glad you like it because I absolutely adore it. Okay. So it's our focus. When we want something, when we want improvement in something, we literally have to get off the subject. When we get off the subject, that's when we can find improvement. All right, let's see. There were some comments here. Instead of wanting a solution to a problem. Wait a second. Where's this story? Yeah, the lady on the call who wanted to talk about her. Exactly. Yes, you're right. The lady who was on the call with Esther, she wanted to talk about her problems, and Abraham was not having any of it. Hi, Nancy. So does that kind of make sense? In the same way that we use visualization as a tool, and hopefully you only use visualization as a tool from the top of the emotional scale, because you'll get opposite results from the bottom of the emotional scale. So we use visualization to create something that we want in the future. So when we want to cure a physical condition, we want to de-visualize it. You know what I mean? I don't know if de-visualization is a word or not, but it serves the purpose. We want to de-visualize it. What does that mean? We want to erase it, de-visualize it, which means I have to stop looking at it. That's de-visualization. Because if I keep looking at it, then I keep bringing it in my future in the way that it is today. Right? And so, hi Nancy. Does that kind of sort of make sense? Yes. Yes, Alina, you will be able to watch it again because it's going to be saved on my YouTube channel. All right, folks. I had fun today. I had fun. This was good. Hi, Sunny. Yes, I love that you're here. And it's going to be on YouTube. And, you know, here's the thing. There's no shortage of Zara. Right? So, you have me. I'll tell you a little story before I go. A long time ago, when I became conscious of the fact that I was flowing and that I was receiving these blocks of thought, and I was doing my writing my blog or doing YouTube videos or and other stuff with the material that I was receiving. I used to stop in the middle of the day because a thought came to me, and I wanted to write all of those thoughts down, all of them. And my thinking was, oh my God, that's such a good idea I just had. I better write it down. I'll forget it. And then after I learned more and became better, I realized that there's no shortage of ideas. Ideas just keep coming, more material just keeps coming. There's no end to it. So I don't have to save it for later. I don't have to write it down, because when I ask, more will come. And that is why I tell people I've written 12 books. 12 books are published and they're on Amazon. But trust me, I've probably written 5 times more books that I've just written in my head. I haven't put them down on paper, because I know that there'll always be another book coming out. I just have to sit down and start writing and it'll flow. But it flows so much faster when it's flowing in my head and I'm not trying to keep up with it, because my typing speed is not that fast. So I just enjoy it in my head and then I let it go and it's gone. Oh goodness, right? Fun, fun, fun. Okay, what other comments here? Yes, Moni, thank you so much for being here. Love you all lots. Going to call this to a close for tonight. And for most of you, I'll see you tomorrow morning. Now, I do have a mini workshop coming up. I was just inspired to do it, and you know me, when the inspiration comes, I do something about it. So I was inspired to create a workshop called Heal the Heart, and it is going to be on YouTube as well as Facebook at 11 a.m. EST on Saturday, this coming Saturday, the 9th of May. I think it's Mother's Day weekend. So I'm going to do my thing on Saturday, and on Sunday I get to relax. Now, this particular workshop is for people who are experiencing relationship pain. So that means things are not going well and I don't know what to do about it. Or things have not gone well and now here I am and it's kind of sort of behind me, but the pain is not behind me. I'm still carrying that pain around. What should I do about it? And so I'm going to talk about, I'm going to share a little bit of my journey, and then I'm going to show you how I turn things around for myself and how you can too, and very quickly, extremely quickly. So if you're interested in attending, you can do one of two things. One, you can show up here, or two, you can show up on Facebook. All right. Have fun, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow morning, or I'll see you on Saturday. Either one. Bye for now.